Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So I mentioned Donald Trump's assault on leftism and how well it's going, and you're backing him up. And he gave a speech recently, and I forget where it was, but he talked about all the things we're talking about, not standing up for the flag, making America first. And he just went on. He condemned all of the things that Barack Obama was doing with Obamacare and why he was dismantling it, and DACA and all these other things, and how we have to get back to rule of law and get things back in kilter. And when people tell me things like, oh, it doesn't matter who's president, I say to you, look at the difference between what Barack Obama's done and what Donald Trump is doing, and then you tell me whether or not you think it matters who's the commander in chief. You look at what's going on in the conservative world where we are gaining a foothold back in all these different areas, and then you tell me it doesn't matter. Cultural war, civil war is underway right now. It is bigger. It is far worse. It kills more people. It has killed more people and has the potential to kill more people than the Civil War that was fought to free the slaves. And people don't notice it. How do you not notice this? The laws that are being passed, HIV in California, you don't have to tell anybody you have it anymore. They're trying to marginalize the gay lifestyle. I had some woman write to me, I'm not following your work anymore. You're a homophobe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she says, an article you wrote. And I go, what article? I couldn't figure it out. So I wrote an article about HIV, about cafe standards with cars, and about black families and how that's killing people, killing thousands of black people every year. And what are we concerned about? What is the nation concerned about? The handful of cops that shoot a black guy, bad black guy every now and then. And erroneously, which happens less than times lightning strikes. I'm just saying, then lightning kills. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, the number of times these things happen versus what is really happening in the world with black on black crime in general, the things that leftists do that let people die, like these so-called gun control things, the number of abortions. I mean, I could go on at how leftists kill more people than anybody on the planet. And these guys want to come at you with, look at this or look at that, with their feigned outrage. It's crazy. So when we look at what you get a guy like Donald Trump who finally fights back and says, you know what? Screw your nonsense, your leftism. You want to take a knee in the NFL? I want you fired. And what's wrong with that? You want to continually lie on NBC about me, Jimmy Kimmel? I want to shut you down. And I'm not shutting down your First Amendment. I'm shutting down your ability to just lie with immunity. I mean, these guys lie for the sake of lying. So we have a warrior. Now you tell me, would you prefer the last 8 years or would you prefer this 1 year that you've had with Donald Trump? If you're listening to this program, for the most part, 100%, I know you prefer the latter, including you brain dead moronic leftists who listen to this program. You're here for a reason. You want to learn. So I'm going to teach you. And I hope next year I don't have to call you a brain dead leftist moron. But Donald Trump makes a difference. And the legislation that he's done, I went through some of the things that he's doing, and I didn't even get to finish the list. Let's look at that list. Let's see. I think I got down to number 25 or something. But here's some other things he's done. Created a commission on, I talked about those. Giving power to states, let's see, unemployment. Created Women in the Entrepreneurship Act. He created an office for illegal immigrant crime victims. He reversed Dodd-Frank. He repealed the Department of Transportation ruling that would have taken power away from local governments for infrastructure planning. He ordered to stop crime against law enforcement. He didn't order to stop that. He ended the DAPA and DACA program. Essentially, he stopped companies from moving out of America by saying, you're going to get a tariff. He promoted businesses that create American jobs. He's encouraged the company to buy American and hire American. He's cutting regulations. 2 regulations must be cut for every regulation that you want to propose. The national debt decreased by $102 billion in the first 7 months. $78 billion has been promised reinvestment from major businesses like Exxon, Bayer, Apple, SoftBank, and Toyota. He denied the FBI a new building. $700 million were saved with the F-35 renegotiation. He negotiated the release of 6 U.S. humanitarian workers in Egypt. Signed an executive order to promote energy independence. He worked with Congress to pass more legislation in the first 100 days than any president since Truman. And keep in mind, with that legislation, they got to dump 2 other pieces. He refused his presidential paycheck and donates it to veterans. He donated $1 million to Harvey hurricane relief efforts, and he's taken a tough stance on North Korea. And you could go on. This is not the complete list. There's many other things that have been added since then. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. The stance on the NFL and what that does to permeate business is ridiculously crazy, what that's going to do to business. And he'll stay the course. You don't have to worry about him getting wishy-washy. I talked about the idea that he has put liberals on Front Street with the Harvey Weinstein thing because he was willing to forego, or I should say willing to take the bullets on misogyny. So look at what's happened since then. Donald Trump has said, fine, call me a misogynist. Has he apologized? Has he said, oh, you know what? I don't want to offend the women. Women, I love you and you're too, I may lose you. No, he said, call me whatever you want. I got better stuff to do. And then what happened? They get exposed. These leftists find out, suddenly our guy's the guy. Do you think Trump's going to let them live this down? Let me tell you, right now, there are people in the Trump camp strategizing on how to rub the noses, they are taking older Trump's buttocks, perfuming it, and they're gonna give it away in Hollywood because they're gonna rub the noses of the left into Trump's butt. And if he can't be there, here's the perfume. Yeah, I came up with that on the fly. What y'all looking at? So Donald Trump is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's showing leadership. He's telling people the conservative way is the way to go. Whether it's trade, whether it's foreign policy, whatever it may be, we're going to be out there actively promoting. And the people who would dare do harm to Americans, to people abroad who want better lives for themselves, their families, and their communities, we're going to support them. And we're not going to do it willy-nilly. We're not going to deploy our military the way Barack Obama did. We're going to be very judicious in where we put our resources. That's what you want from a commander-in-chief. I love watching this guy work. Cultural Marxism. That's what we've been going through. Let me play this clip so you guys can hear it, because we need to discuss it in its entirety.
At least at the beginning, was a blistering indictment of the cultural Marxism of the last 8 years, the cultural Marxism of the Obama administration, of the cultural Marxism that is permeating through the media. You know, when we're talking about we're not going to stand up and respect the flag, when we're just trying to destroy the family unit, right, when religion is being suppressed in this country, the president
How is religion being
that.
suppressed, though? How is it?
Well, I mean, he spoke to it with the Johnson Amendment. This is a long-standing thing where...
Yeah, but that's a real serious issue, because if you don't agree with that religion coming into the public sphere like that, I mean, that's a public policy
Well, you can look
issue,
at our
right?
schools, for instance, you know, where prayer is not acceptable, where the Pledge of Allegiance in some cases, even as close as New Jersey right here, is not acceptable. So there is a coordinated effort throughout society at this point in time to tackle patriotism, religion, and the family unit, and the president spoke to that at the beginning of this speech.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I don't know who the guy was, but he was in Fox Business, and he nailed it. And that's why I keep telling you guys, I told you before, I said, look at the things that are being tackled, the things that we've been watching ourselves lose ground on. So the NFL kneelers. Can you imagine where we would be in that story if Barack Obama were president? Just ask yourself that question. What would we be talking about? Would there be more kneelers or less kneelers? You tell me. What do you guys think? More, of course, right? Yeah, these guys will be gaining steam. Black Lives Matter would be in the news every day, picketing and marching more and more, talking about this issue, but Trump squashed it. It's going away. It will go away. The left, they'll keep certain things, but it's going away. I promise you. This guy talked about the destruction of the family. He talked about the religious oppression. And he says it's a coordinated effort. And he couldn't be more right. It's been a coordinated effort to go after capitalists, to go after the military. Think about what the NFL kneelers represent. The idea that you're slapping America in the face, you're slapping the flag, or the anthem, and the veterans. And Donald Trump was able to push that back on them and make them eat it. That's genius. Take that, Marxism.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.